Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Any Kind Media. My name is Ocean Sibiano.
I'm Taylor Vera.
And on this episode, we are going to give our initial impressions on Disney Plus and Lucasfilm's current running original series titled Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here after a pushback in release date. And
Not by much, though.
Not by much, but they made up for it. They gave us 2 episodes.
Yep. Worth it.
Just all the build up, the excitement, everything. Oh man, it's finally here. So we're gonna give our take. We're gonna run this like all of our other initial impressions. We're gonna talk about a spoiler review or spoiler free review, excuse me, and then we'll give a rating for the initial impressions, which will be based off of the first 2 episodes, and then we will get into some spoilers. So, Taylor, give me your initial reaction or initial impressions of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So far, absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, I could not
loving every second of it.
For real, I didn't want it to end today, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a few things that we'll point out, of course.
Yeah.
But overall, love it.
This is what I'll say on the spoiler review part. If you watched our trailer reaction to the final trailer of Kenobi, it's a 10-minute video. It came out like 4 or 5 episodes ago. Go check it out. But if you watch that video, you'll know that I had a bold prediction of this being the greatest piece of Star Wars cinema to come out since the original 3 episodes. And what I'll say in regards to my initial impression, without any spoilers, is that I think this is on track to follow or to fulfill that bold prediction. In my opinion, I think it's on track. Whether or not it ends up doing that, because we only have 4 episodes left, we'll see. Like we said, there are a few things here and there that we'll talk about that kind of maybe brought the show down a little bit. But if the show goes in the direction that I hope it goes, I think it could live up to that bold prediction that I put out in the trailer review or the trailer reaction. So that's what I'll say in regards to a spoiler-free review. It's really hard to talk about the show without any spoilers, so we're not going to have too much. I highly recommend you go watch it.
Yep, I agree. Highly recommend. I don't agree with the statement of being the greatest thing since the first 3. However, I do think it's going to be really great, at least so far, what it seems like. And highly recommend it. Definitely go watch it. And if you're not, then you're wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah, it's 90 minutes. First episode is, I think, 54, 57 minutes. Second episode is 41, I believe.
It just feels too short.
Yeah, but it flies by. There's
and
a lot.
They show a lot.
Yeah,
just in these first 2 episodes.
The greatest thing, or the thing that I think it has going for it the most, is that probably 90 to 95% of what we saw in the trailer has already happened in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Which means that moving forward, pretty much everything that we see is going to be brand new to our eyes, which to me is huge. It's huge, and it's a great good on you, Disney, for doing that, because too many times we see bits and pieces in a trailer that are huge plot moments down the line, and then we're exposed to it. But now, or in this particular case, we've pretty much seen everything that's in the trailer. So now, everything that comes out in the next 4 weeks is going to be brand new to us.
Yeah.
So.
And like I said, they show a lot, and they do a lot in these first 2 episodes. Yeah. So it's kind of set up to be like, especially for as short as this is supposed to be, this series, they leave a lot of room for a lot of growth and like potential, it's not going to be, like, you can tell it's not going to be just strung out and be like super slow or anything.
And there's no way this is a 1 season thing, if you ask me.
Which, I mean, it's not supposed to be. It's as far as Disney goes with their limited series, for Disney, their limited series basically just means they are initially set to be one season. Depending on how that does, it will continue to go until people stop watching it.
Gotcha. Well, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, man.
The only issue, I would never get tired of it. The only issue is because it's a certain time period, you can only really do so much, regardless of how much we love it.
That is true. So yeah, like I said, there's not a whole lot that we can say without giving you guys spoilers. I do recommend that you go and watch these first 2 episodes before you get into the spoilers. Otherwise, it's definitely not going to be the same experience. So go check out the first 2 episodes, and then once you finish those 2 episodes, go ahead and come on back, finish the rest of this video. That way you can let us know what your thoughts are on the things that we talk about. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your official
spoiler alert.
All right. So, opening scene, man. To me, like, the recap itself was great.
Don't skip it.
Yeah, don't skip the recap. I almost did, if I'm being honest, because I was holding the remote and it said skip recap, and I'm so used to just hitting that button because it's muscle memory from all the other shows. But don't skip the recap because it's a good refresher. Even if you are a huge Star Wars fan and you love all Star Wars stuff, it's a good recap, and it kind of just puts you in the mindset and the frame of mind for what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And then the opening scene is in the middle of Order 66, right?
Execute Order 66.
So there's actually one thing that we wanted to talk about in regards to this opening scene, right? And this is
there's a few things I want to talk about.
Well, there's one thing that I want to bring up, and it's
actually before we get into that, real quick.
Yeah.
This probably won't even really matter to most people. But this is the thumbnail that Disney has chosen for the series on Disney Plus. Again, this is probably totally just way over the head of most people, but the style of this thumbnail is identical to the style of the Plague House video game series, where it's like almost like an interactive movie, like Until Dawn, all of those games and stuff.
Is it really?
It's very similar. Not that that's a bad thing. I just wanted to point that out.
Gotcha.
But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, so opening scene, it's execute Order 66, right? We get a shot of some younglings with what seems to be a Jedi Master teaching them some yoga type force.
Yeah, it looks like some Avatar wind bending stuff.
And some clone troopers bust through the door and do Order 66 things, And the thing that I want to bring up is the color of those clone troopers. It's
probably really difficult to see.
Yeah, but I realize that you guys are watching a video of a video, and it's kind of hard to see, but I'll try to explain it the best I can. So this is a still frame of the scene, and if you look at the armor, the painted pieces are a very like skyish blue color, and it's not really a problem. It's just for me, because I love Star Wars so much and I've watched pretty much everything there is. It's just something that popped out to me right away.
It's a small detail that will probably blow past most people.
Yeah, most people it will.
This in particular bothers like me and you and
the
probably
hardcore
a few
guys. Yeah.
Well, it's not even just the hardcore Star Wars fans. All right, so like, I love clone troopers. Basically, anything like military-esque related, I'm gonna be very particular about.
Right.
And that involves the clone troopers, stormtroopers, and all that, because I just love them.
Right.
So we know currently, at least from the movie, episode 3, right?
Right.
Whenever Order 66 is enacted, Anakin Skywalker, of course, it leads.
No. Darth Vader.
What will be Darth? I guess technically he was knighted as Darth Vader, but Darth Vader has a different image than Anakin. But okay, yeah. Technicalities aside, Darth Vader or Anakin, whichever you prefer, which technically, yeah, Darth Vader. He's the one, obviously, that gets ordered to go to the Jedi Temple to eliminate all future Jedi, all the younglings and all that stuff.
Yes, Anakin Skywalker kills a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
we get it, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, and when we see that shot, obviously he, and just like every other Jedi Knight, have a division under them. So he commands the 501st Division.
Right.
Now his division is very famous within the Star Wars universe because it's known for taking on the most gruesome battles and everything. So they're like battle hardened. So there's a couple reasons why this bothers me. One, the color is off, like you said. It's a sky blue. However, we know the 501st have a navy blue color.
Right.
Now the pattern that they have on their armor is correct, but the color is off. The second thing that bothers me is because of the 501st being as I guess vetted as they are, their armor is typically worn because unless they're fresh recruits,
right?
Which again, in the shot that we see in the show, they're all like brand spanking new shiny, which is the nickname that are given as shinies, as we know from the Clone Wars. Shinies, because they're all brand new troopers. That doesn't make sense for them to be that way.
The 501st, yeah, and again, I think these are small, minor details that would, for most people, you're not paying attention to that because you're paying attention to how the Jedi is deflecting blaster bolts and and whatnot. And I get it.
It doesn't take away from how not at all. The coolness of what's going on.
The scene is still great. The Jedi that's in it is awesome. The story part of it is cool. But just these little things, and these are the things that we wanted to point out because we feel like, it's something that we in particular may have a different, or may know, right, versus a lot of people. But that, I get it. Maybe they knew they needed to be blue. They knew they needed to have the particular pattern, and that's what they just went with. They didn't really pay attention to the shade of blue, or whatever. But that's all. That's all probably a wardrobe thing. I don't think it was on purpose.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, it's just the fact that Star Wars obviously is a well-renowned franchise and stuff, and this is clearly not it's been going on for a long time, and especially being around Kenobi. It's just because I'm so excited about it. I do pay attention to the details because that makes it that much better.
We wanted all these finer details to be in line so that it just adds to everything, right? There's another small detail about the scene with the kids. They were a little too calm, a little too level-headed for that situation. They're after the Jedi dies or gets killed, all the younglings are like, "What do we do next?" And one of them's like, "Let's run." And they're like, "Okay," and they just start running. I was like, all right.
I mean,
aren't they trained from?
Yeah, but that stage or that age is maybe they probably got 2 years or so of training.
Yeah, they're
so I get it.
The ones that we were shown in this is different than episode 3.
Yeah,
these are a little bit older.
Yeah,
probably more in the intermediate stage of, I guess early training.
Again, small details, neither here nor there. It doesn't take away from anything. It's just little things we wanted to point out.
Yeah. And the clone troopers are real people. In Kenobi.
The what?
They're real people, real actors. Because this is CGI.
Oh, you're talking about how this in episode 3 they CGI'd a lot of the clone troopers, and in I didn't know that.
Well,
actually.
That's because
I mean I knew they CGI'd this, but I didn't know in
it's real actors.
Kenobi it's all real.
I think it's purely only because shots that we have in Kenobi obviously are much closer. This is a grand showing the full company marching in and stuff. Because in Kenobi, there is a CG shot of a bigger
Right.
Battle obviously going on with all the different random Jedi and stuff, moving around, fighting, and all dying and stuff.
Yeah.
There was we'll talk about the one thing that came up shortly after that. I believe your brother brought up, which made sense because I feel like me, you, him, and probably your dad felt is when the shot that they had of when they were running definitely reminds you of that short little scene that we got from Grogu's backstory in Mandalorian.
Yeah,
when
I even
he's
mentioned
in
it.
the temple. Yeah,
I even mentioned, I was like, oh, are we going to get to see how Grogu escaped?
There's no way.
But they're probably saving that for Mandalorian.
I don't think they're gonna show that in this series. Yeah.
So,
Which makes sense because the way it looked very familiar.
The halls
of
looked
course, because it's
familiar.
the temple and stuff. But it just it just reminds you about it. And then there was one thing that I would have loved to have seen, but again, very small detail that probably would have went over most people because they probably don't even know. Is since we were getting more shots of the Jedi Temple, I would have loved to see the Jedi Temple guard in this series because they look super cool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just
I know it's just supposed to be a short recap kind of thing.
Probably.
But it would have been super cool just to get one shot of a temple guard in there.
No, I agree. It would have been pretty dope. Still a great opening scene.
No, yeah.
I enjoyed it. After this, it goes to Tatooine, right?
Yeah.
And
it kind of covers...
it covers Kenobi's... Just kind of shows what his life is like.
Yeah.
At that time on Tatooine. He's basically a hermit that lives in the mountains, and he harvests meat out of this giant land shark thing.
Yeah, it's like a manta ray.
It's like a manta ray, but on land. And
but it's massive.
And he lives a very normal life, right? He works, he goes back to his place, and then every once in a while he checks on Luke. But then the Inquisitors show up on Tatooine, chasing down a lead on another Jedi, not on Obi-Wan.
Yeah, just a random.
Just
Jedi.
a random Jedi that happened to be there, and that's where we get the iconic quotes from the
trailer.
The trailer. It's like an itch, it cannot be helped.
Yes.
But that was a pretty cool scene. I really love that actor. I think he killed it as Grand Inquisitor. And
there was one moment that was really bad.
Yeah.
And I know that you knew it at the same time. It's so they do the bar scene, right?
Yeah.
With the Grand Inquisitor and the couple other Inquisitors with them, and they're trying to figure out the Jedi. So they do a whole speech thing, and then the third sister throws a knife at the dude to draw out the Jedi, and then of course the Jedi, because it is like an itch, cannot help it, uses the Force, stops the knife, reveals himself, and then they try to fight, and then this really, really bad event happens. So when he escapes, he runs, knocks down so the bar that they're at, it's kind of got like a half circle opening entrance, and it's got these like little hanger things on the outside with like these like cloth as like shade over it.
Yeah, it's just like
he knocks
shades.
down one of them,
one section,
so immediately behind him, and runs away. And then they're like, oh no, he's getting away.
Go.
We can't take one step to the side and chase you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just fucking... It's just one of those, like, Hollywood movie things. And I definitely looked over at you, and I was like, okay, whatever. But it's just one of those things I kind of just had to accept.
Yeah, if you just gloss over it and move on.
But I understand what you're saying. It's kind of a... Just like, all right, we could have done a little better there. But
yeah, definitely.
And then we get to see some interaction between... Which actually, one part that I did think was pretty cool was the interaction between Kenobi and Ewok. Or not the Ewok.
Jawa.
Jawa. And I thought that was pretty cool. The reason why I think these kinds of shots are cool is because it deepens the other races.
Yeah,
right.
Same thing we did with Tuskens and Book of Boba Fett.
Right, exactly.
The Jawas,
or even the Jawas in Book of Boba Fett, because you had a little bit of interaction with Mando building the new ship and stuff. But this one, like the Jawas that we know from Episode 4 and stuff, they're these like completely impersonal things that just scavenge the desert for all kinds of crazy stuff and have no soul, no personality whatsoever.
Yeah.
But now we have this Jawa that has this relationship with Kenobi. Like, he has a friendship, basically, you know? And I just think it's cool, because I think it's, like you said, we got stuff from the Tusken Raiders and whatnot, and it just kind of deepens the different races and their contributions to the show.
Yeah, it fills out the world a little bit better.
You feel a little more in tune with everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then we get to see interaction between.
I like that they still, hints back to what we know as Jawas with just stealing crap.
Yeah, they're a little.
And he's like, "Leia, I got the stuff that you're asking for," and he's like, "Oh, sounds like your vaporizer's, kind of on the fritz." And he's like, "Justin, look, I have one for you.
I have this part."
And Obi-Wan's like, "Look, if you're gonna steal my stuff, at least clean it before you give it back to me." And he's like, "Cleaning costs extra."
Yeah, the job was like, "Cleaning costs extra." It was a pretty cool line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot. Actually, I think it was really cool to see just more of the Jawas. And then we get to see interaction between Kenobi and Uncle Owen, right? Which Uncle Owen, he's believable, but maybe it's just because the first three came out so long ago, right? Like the Uncle Owen we know from episode 4 through 6 or 4 through 5. No, just episode 4. Never mind. The Uncle Owen we know from episode 4, like, I don't know. To me, he didn't really care about Luke in episode 4.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like he was more of a burden than anything in episode 4.
Yeah, he's just kind of like extra labor.
Yeah, he was just like a farmhand, basically. I mean, I'm sure he cared, but in this, like, Uncle Owen is like the
full dad mode.
super protective and all this of Luke and protecting him even from Kenobi, right? So that was a little interesting to me, but I get it. Maybe things changed over time, whatever. But yeah, Uncle Owen was pretty cool. The scene with the Inquisitor and Owen, with his third sister and Owen, she was just a little. That was like the first time that she was a little extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Did it really have to be with Owen? Like, did that scene have to happen with Owen? Like, they threatened to kill Owen
just
and
had
all
to be
that?
dramatic,
Yeah, I think it was just a little for dramatic sake, but whatever. And then from there, I think it goes to Leia, right?
Yeah.
We get to, which I
was
was not expecting. Yeah.
Totally unexpected
Yeah.
that we were getting some Leia backstory as well. So we get like full on like
little girl Leia,
like little Leia,
little princess,
with her family and Alderaan, which looks beautiful.
Bro, it took me a minute. I'll be honest, like, from the time it started showing Leia and stuff on Alderaan and like just going through her story, it took me a solid like 5 minutes to realize, oh shit, all of that's gone. Like, that's not there anymore. Like, it didn't hit me because I was so in tune to just, listening to the story of Leia and whatever and experiencing that it didn't it didn't hit me till like a good 5 minutes in. I was like, oh shit, Alderaan's gone. I forgot that the Death Star destroys it. So that was kind of like, once I realized that, I was like, oh, right. And so I was just looking around more at the background and stuff, and you're right, it looked like a really cool place.
Yeah. So. They have some really good So in the first episode, Leia has a very I don't really know how to describe her personality, but
she's what you would call wise beyond her years.
yeah.
She's
And I like in the first episode, I like it.
yeah.
I like it a lot. It's strange to me because it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't fit Leia, but this is young Leia.
I mean, if you think about her and Leia in episode 4 through 6, kind of does. She was pretty snarky in those episodes.
Yeah, but not as much as she is in this.
No, I would agree with that, and maybe that she tempered it down once she actually made it into politics.
Once she's
and stuff.
grown, I guess grown a little bit older, it changes, which makes sense. But she like in this, like she's really,
especially that scene with her cousin.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
That was funny. Yeah,
that was pretty funny. And then she gets kidnapped.
Yep.
She gets kidnapped by the third sister.
Well, she gets kidnapped by these like three thugs basically, which are working for the third sister.
Flea is the thug. It's so funny. Yeah, she gets kidnapped, and so this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about in general, is the scenes that we get of the Inquisitors, like the internal friction, I guess you could call it, of the Inquisitors. Because if you think about a lot of the main episodes of the Star Wars universe, you don't really ever see a whole lot of dark side. Let's just call it dark side, like beef. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason for that, though, which I guess it makes sense in this situation with Inquisitors. Because that's why there's always, for the Sith, there's always two.
Right.
For a reason.
Right.
There's a master and there's an apprentice. And that reason is because with the dark side, obviously your main goal is to have to become the most powerful.
Right.
So it wouldn't make sense for you to have multiple, because they're just going to kill each other because they want to be the strongest thing. Right? Yeah, which is, again, what happens with the Inquisitors and stuff. But it's like, which I kind of like the, I don't know what his name is, but the other
helmet dude.
Yeah, with the third sister, helmet guy.
The fifth brother or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sure.
Fifth brother, yeah.
Fifth brother. So I don't think it's a bad thing at all. In fact, I think it's a good thing because I think it humanizes the dark side, we'll call it, and it makes it more interesting because they're not just pure evil, right? They actually have they have problems just like anybody else, and whatever, So I think it's pretty cool to see just that even the Sith have problems with insubordinates.
Well, they're not Sith. But
okay, my bad. Dark side. Sorry, but
third sister wishes she was a Sith.
Yeah, she does. So, yeah, I think it's good. I like to see it. I think it's a good. It enhances the dichotomy of the good versus evil.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Yeah, so I think that's good. And then she gets kidnapped, and that's pretty much the end of episode 1, right?
I think so.
That's pretty much it. I think, the end of episode 1 is pretty much her getting kidnapped, which, okay, so this is one of the kind of, just cringy things that I can't really handle about a lot of the scenes in episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, it kind of bleeds over into 2.
How the hell is this 10-year-old girl outrunning all of these adults?
It's not even just that. It's like,
and then she's running through the forest, and
then so the green, I don't know what race it is, but that green person, just the way they run.
Yeah, she's like hobbling.
Like, you don't know how to run, bro? Yeah.
But
and on top of that, she runs, and because she's a kid, right?
Yeah.
She just runs underneath this branch, and the green person's like, what do I do?
Oh, it's a bird. She literally...
I'm stuck.
The little girl runs underneath this branch. She doesn't even have to duck under.
Nope,
it's
just
probably
straight.
like 4 feet tall.
Maybe,
And
yeah.
the bad person is following her. And instead of just ducking under the branch and
Or
following
just walking
her,
around anything.
Yeah.
Literally anything. Break
Like-
the branch. Like, they just, they
she
just stutter.
stops. She's
Just
like,
like,
"Oh, I can't go any farther." And that happened multiple times. There, she like,
Not
Leia,
only
like
that,
snuck
there's
through
a-
2 trees, and the person like stopped and was like, "Oh, I can't get through
not
there."
even that. There's a shot when she's like running, and the person's literally
Right behind
right
her.
there, and they're just like, "Oh, I could grab you, but I don't know how to use my arms." And then she just runs, and it's
Yeah.
like, come on, dude.
So I think that could have been that was just it was that definitely took away from this seriousness of the scene, because
Yeah.
obviously it's serious. She's getting kidnapped, and it just took away from it, in my opinion. I was just like, what the hell am I watching? And it bled over into episode 2, because the same thing happened with her and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan was chasing
I don't
after
know
her.
What to do.
There's literally one scene where he like shot a guy to protect her, and she like just stood there, and he's just like, "Are you okay?" And she started running. He's like, "Oh, I gotta run after you," instead of grabbing you. Like,
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. And then
Yeah.
in episode 2, so it changes to a different planet, right?
yeah.
And
What's the name of the planet?
It's that Night City looking planet.
I'm sure you can find it.
But yeah, it's that like cyberpunk-esque looking
Yeah.
Night City place.
It's
and,
definitely a crime world, modeled after like Tokyo or something.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be something
Dayu.
like Hong Kong.
Dayu, yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in the trailer. I think it's supposed to be like Hong Kong or something.
Yeah. Because the director,
Yeah, Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow, is a.
Which is, it looks great. The
Oh,
set
yeah.
looks great.
It looks
all
insane.
the like, you know, random people and stuff look really good. It's just like the action kind of things that happen in the city. Like it's
Yeah.
a little sketchy.
Well, it
Like,
just it doesn't make a
that
whole lot
Obi-Wan
of.
chasing her is weird. And then her attitude, man, I couldn't
Yeah.
take it in the second episode.
At that point, it was a little much, because I was like, look, like,
She basically pulls Argentina Chavez.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Oh shit, what was that?
Sorry.
Yeah, the set looked really cool. The planet looked really cool, but I think the way that the planet was set up actually hindered the flow of the scenes and the flow of the battle between Obi-Wan and all the bounty hunters in low life and whatnot.
Yeah,
Because
they pull like an excommunicado.
yeah, it literally was, which was cool. But then, like, there's so many people around, and there's giant buildings, and so half the battle takes place up on the rooftops, and then he just like, there's one scene like after he catches her with the Force, and he just runs around the corner, and now he's there.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that too. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so
I was
you
like,
just came
oh.
off the building like in 2 seconds. No big deal.
Yeah, you just kinda
after he
like-
did this dramatic, you know, she fell and then saved her using the
Yeah.
Force again. And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess we're just doing that.
So
I will say the character that we saw in the trailer, which gets introduced in the second episode, which we thought was a Jedi, is somebody pretending to be a Jedi.
what is the name of that actor?
He's really funny.
He's so funny. He's
Yeah,
from
so he's basically faking being a Jedi
Yeah.
with like all this whole scheme set up and stuff. And he basically just scams people. I mean, he does help people, but it's
but he does it
for
for
money.
money.
Yeah. And he just dresses up like one.
And yeah,
But
he's
he's
just like-
super funny, and I do really like his character.
He uses magnets and sleight of hand to pretend he's
Yeah,
a Jedi.
it's something with a J.
Kumail Nanjiani? Something
Sure.
like-
He's an Indian character, or Indian person, but he's from Immortals. I know I mentioned that to you during the trailer. He's from Immortals, and he's very similar
Eternals?
in Immortals. Oh yeah, not Immortals, Eternals. God, Eternals, and he's very similar in Eternals.
Oh, okay.
Like his mannerisms and his character is very similar in Eternals.
Aj, that's his name, isn't it?
Uh,
Jedi.
yeah.
Yeah,
Aja.
okay, yeah. Something
Yeah.
like that.
And then he actually like he ends up kind of saving Kenobi.
Yeah,
and
he
the kid. Like,
he's not totally, you know,
Yeah.
like a scum.
Which-
like,
which I don't know. It's a little unbelievable to me.
It is like it felt a little weird because it's like when Obi-Wan first gets there, he basically asks around and stuff for help trying to find Leia, and then somebody points him out that there's a Jedi nearby that can get stuff done for you, and so he confronts him, and I feel like at that moment you should know that Obi-Wan is a Jedi. Like, because he was like, "Oh, how did you get in here?" Just from the way he's dressed and everything. Like, dude, come on. They look very distinct.
Yeah, it's a very distinct look for sure. I mean, he literally dressed up like it, so
yeah,
he should have known. But, and then the problem I have is that he's part of an underworld, like, sneaky business, and sure, he's technically doing good. But what does he benefit from helping Kenobi? And what does he owe? He doesn't owe Kenobi anything either. So like what, like to me, especially because there was that scene of his little apprentice, the little African American coming up and be like, "Oh, we had him. Look at that reward." And then he pulls out his blaster and he's like, "Let's go get him." And to me, that didn't give me the impression of like, "Oh, let's go help." It gave me the impression like, oh, they're going to go capture him. And so I actually thought when he approached Kenobi and was like, hey, you need to get out of here. Here, go to this place. It's automated. They won't check there. I thought he was setting him up. Like, I thought it was a trap. And that's why, like, to me, it wasn't really believable that he would help. Just the way that his character was presented.
Like, oh man, I didn't know that you were a Jedi.
Yeah,
and all this stuff. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't.
On top of that too, like, I don't know. I don't remember. Probably have to watch it again. But where did that kid get that thing, bro? That shows that Obi-Wan is the target.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he just had it. We just never saw it, but.
But he's part of the. If he had it, that would imply that he's a bounty hunter.
He's on the list for the excommunicado, bro.
Yeah, but the bounty hunters got that.
So well, I think it was everybody. I think she said like bounty hunter, lowlife. Oh my gosh! Sorry. She said like bounty hunter, lowlife, and whatever. Like I don't think it was restricted just to bounty hunters.
That doesn't make sense, though.
I mean, she just wanted as many people looking out for him. So, I mean, on that note, it brings us to, in my opinion...
Yeah, but how is the entire, like, planet or city, like, all linked to be able to do that? Like, what?
I don't know. Aliens.
Yeah. We do see some cool-looking characters, though.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed that crocodile-looking one.
Crocodile one
that was pretty
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Reminded me of Crocubot from Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Yeah. And that brings me to we'll address, before we get into the like final 3 minutes of the last episode that were really cool.
Yep.
We'll talk about the worst part of the first 2 episodes, and that's the third sister Batman scenes. Like,
so
to paint the picture
from the trailer, you were like, this is gonna be a great character and stuff, and it looked like that
because I knew who she was. I knew who she was from the game, from Fallen Order, and from other stuff. I knew who she was, and I thought she was going to be a great cast. Like, I thought it was a great casting because she looked good.
She looked good,
but she did not perform, and just the way that they did her during that scene.
Yeah. So basically, the entire time that she is on screen, it's cringe.
Yeah.
Unless she's just not saying anything, it's fine.
Yeah.
But basically, the moment she opens her mouth, which is all the time, because she's a third sister and she wishes she was better than she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cringy. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, they do like a super weird Batman
to paint the picture.
Shots, like,
she puts out this message to all the bounty hunters and whatever to look for Kenobi.
Because she's trying to catch him before the Grand Inquisitor does. And
then Kenobi ends up on a roof chasing after Leia, and some bounty hunters see him, and they start shooting at him, and he shoots back. And the whole time, this third sister decides that the best way to find Kenobi is to go perch up on top of a rooftop and just wait to see something in the darkness.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a bat.
Vengeance.
Yeah.
She literally did the Batman pose. Like she literally
straight up. Like she's just standing up there,
and then took a knee,
and it, like the cape and everything. It's just it's literally a Batman scene.
So she's up there, and then she sees the fighting, and so she decides to get involved.
And so,
but she's
so this is what
apparently she's far enough away that it takes about 3 to 5 minutes of montage footage of her. Doing parkour, Batman style.
Well, okay, no. Don't disrespect Batman like that, all right? So this is another big issue I have, is this little montage shot thing that they do is, I gotta say, one of the worst things I've seen come out of Star Wars recently. Like, you are clearly hanging on some wires, doing some really bad looking shots of, like, her like jumps and flips and
like spinning around,
vaulting over like this parkour stuff. Man, you make that shit look really bad.
Yeah, it did. It looked pretty bad. She like spun around this what looked like an air conditioning vent that she didn't even need to go around.
Parkour.
Like she was literally running straight, and she decided to detour to the right to go around this vent that she didn't even need to go around. She could have just went straight.
Gotta look cool. But it didn't look
number
cool.
One, bro.
but it didn't look cool.
She
though.
failed.
That's
so that was the worst part. Was just that montage of her getting to the fighting or whatever.
Even like the really bad, and it was so pointless too because she ended up not even being.
Yeah, she never even got there.
Close to where he was. They do like this really bad like jumping off the rooftop down an alleyway.
Oh
like,
my god!
But it just looks really bad.
Yeah. Looks like a discount version of Optimus Prime jumping down the buildings in the first Transformers. Yeah, it was pretty cringy. In my opinion, it's the worst part of the first 2 episodes. And that being said, if that's the worst part of the first two episodes, it's not. I mean, it's, like as a whole, if that's your worst, if that's your weakest link,
like
then that's pretty good. You know what I mean?
Not bad.
Yeah, like I can look past that. You know. So now we'll get into arguably the greatest 10 minutes of Star Wars cinema that we've seen in a long time. She like so Kenobi and Leia. Well, okay. So first off, Leia falls off the building because she's running away from Kenobi, and she falls off. And Kenobi has this moment of him re-engaging with the Force, right, and catching her, which is really
struggles
cool.
A little bit.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, but then he hopped off the building and was down on the bottom in 2 seconds. But whatever.
Yeah.
Look past that.
Force jump, bro.
Yeah, but we didn't even see him get the Force jump, which would have been cool if he had Force jump down there. But whatever. And then they get confronted by, what is his name, Haji, or whatever,
Haja, something like that.
Yeah, it's like Haja or Haji. Yeah, they confront him in an alleyway, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you. Here's this key to this ship that's up there in an automated place that they would never check because it's automated. It's not for passengers. It's only for for like goods and stuff." And so they go up there, and they're in this warehouse or whatever, walking to the ship.
Okay, well before that, there's this scene, and he's like, "Look, go here. I'll distract them."
Oh yeah.
So he runs up to the third sister in the alleyway and is like,
and tries to distract
starts doing
her.
This like really stupid like
impression.
"I'm the Jedi you were looking for. Like,
I'm a bat."
Yeah. "I'm the one that you want. Like, you can't get through me." And she's just like, "Bro, what? Get out of here. Like, you're not a Jedi."
And then she pins him up against the wall and reads his mind, which I don't like. Mind reading is
I feel like that's a high level skill.
It's a really high level skill. Like, that's not something that...
It doesn't make sense for an Inquisitor to have.
Well, not only that, because a lot of Inquisitors are Jedi turned Inquisitors, right? Like,
yeah, but they're typically like lower.
Right, they're not
ones.
Jedi Masters that would have the capability of doing that. Like, a lot of the Council members don't even have the capability of mind reading.
Because that's a unique, like...
It's a very unique skill. And that's one of those skills that borders on the line of turn
You know, like a
that's something that
Skywalker.
could lead. No, what I mean is like learning the skill of mind reading could
Oh,
lead you
I
down
mean,
a
yeah.
path to darkness.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, which Skywalkers.
yeah, sure. So she does that. So maybe that is a little bit of foreshadowing of finding out something about her. Because there's also a little bit of foreshadowing in one of the interactions between the Grand Inquisitor and her. Because he says to her, "You're the lowest of us all.
Yeah.
The only reason why you're here is because of your abilities, right? Your abilities." Which means that some part, which I don't know if it's a mind reading or something else, but there's something that's keeping her there. So that may be a little bit of foreshadowing to finding out more about her backstory later.
Yeah, which I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will, yeah. So she reads his mind, finds out they're going up there, so she chases after them. She gets in there, and she's like, she does a pretty cool lightsaber, deployment.
I'm not the biggest fan
Yeah, I
of
mean-
her lightsaber. It does sound cool, but it like
There's
I don't
not a
know, the
whole
way-
lot of
the
different
way-
ways you can deploy it,
Yeah, but the way it looks, the way she
Yeah.
holds it and uses it, like I don't know.
I get you. I got you. But she has this like 2 or 3 minute conversation with Kenobi.
He's
Well, it's
like
more of a
hiding.
monologue.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
he's just
monologue.
hiding, and she's just talking.
And
'cause she
he's
knows
kind
he's
of like
there.
trying to just avoid her, but while buying time for Leia to go to the ship and get it ready, which Leia somehow knows how to use this key that she's never seen before in the ship that she's never seen before,
Yep,
but whatever.
in a place that she's never been to.
Movie logic, but whatever. And then the Grand Inquisitor enters the room and tells the third sister to stand down. And this next piece of information that we'll drop is probably the greatest spoiler of the entire series, or the entire episode, I should say. The third sister decides that she wants all the credit for herself.
Yep.
So she does what I don't think any of us were expecting.
At least
And-
not this early.
Takes her lightsaber and plunges it into the middle of the Grand Inquisitor.
Yep.
Which, I'll be honest, I was not expecting that.
I wasn't expecting it this early.
No. I mean, again, it's something that happens later on.
Yeah. I
in
mean, I
the-
know he dies.
Yeah. But I was not expecting them to do it this early.
Yeah.
So, that kind of caught me off guard, but I'm not mad about it. I am bummed that we're not going to get to see more of
it
the Grand
sucks.
Inquisitor.
Yeah, because I want to see him more.
Yeah. Especially with the actor that they got for him and
But
everything.
because it's so short, I guess it's fine. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, according to IMDb, he's in all 6 episodes.
Really?
I don't know if that's a spoiler or not for everyone, but
could be.
Interesting. Maybe it's like flashbacks or something or whatever.
But yeah,
Oh.
she stabs him like through.
She stabs him in a place that
Yes.
you really can't come back from.
It's like dead center in his
Yeah,
chest.
like something like your Darth Maul got cut in half and they just put a robotic bottom half on.
Yeah. After falling like
Yeah.
A
Or
thousand
Fennec
feet.
Shan when she got like sliced open by a Dinjar and so.
odds, bro.
Huh? Yeah.
That's all you need.
Hey, maybe that's what happens to Grand Inquisitor. Maybe they take him to Tatooine and get him modded up, bro.
If they do that, I'm not gonna watch this.
I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
No, I doubt it.
If he's in the series, he either somehow survives through his force ability.
He probably
or
just like constantly like
force. Yeah.
like shit talking her like like in her head kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's probably more of what it is. Is he now becomes I don't want to say a dream, but just like an image in her head.
Like a
or whatever.
ghost.
Huh? Yeah, like, sure. He haunts her.
Like a Grand Inquisitor, but not a normal one, a freaky
Freaky one.
Inquisitor.
But yeah, so she kills him, and that buys Kenobi enough time
Potentially.
to run onto the ship, and he gets out of there, and then she says the lines that you hear in the trailer of,
We'll see.
"You can't escape him."
Before that happens, you're forgetting a big thing, bro.
What am I forgetting?
So there's a shot. So while he's like hiding behind these boxes,
Oh,
right?
fuck,
he
yeah.
pulls out
Why
his-
did I not remember
He pulls out
that?
his lightsaber. Right?
Oh, my God.
So we're like, oh crap, are we about to see
Yeah.
him fight? Which I was like, nah, I don't think
Nah,
we can
it's
do
too
this
early.
early. which he doesn't. But while he's there, she's talking to him. She's like, "Hey," because I'm pretty sure at that point that's when they both like connect like their minds and they're like, like telepathy, like kind of like talk or like reading each other. And she's like, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm taking you to Lord Vader." And then he's right. And he's like, "Whoa, wait, what?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep, he's alive."
This is what a she says Anakin is still alive. Which is interesting that she says Anakin instead of Lord Vader, but
well, she says Lord Vader first and then she says Anakin.
This is a concept that me and my brother were throwing around before we watched these episodes. Is we weren't sure, and again, I haven't watched episode 3 in a little bit. It's been a couple months, but we weren't sure whether or not Obi-Wan Kenobi was ever told that Anakin's new name was Darth Vader, that he had been named Darth Vader by Darth Sidious, and we were throwing around the idea that maybe we didn't think that he knew Anakin survived, and we didn't think that he knew that Anakin's name was Darth Vader. So if he had ever heard of Darth Vader in the 10 years while he's on Tatooine, he wouldn't have ever pieced the two together, right? He wouldn't have said, "Oh, that's Anakin," which we get confirmation that he didn't know that Anakin was still alive. But I think he did know that his name was Darth Vader, because she said Darth Vader first, and he was already like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, I think it was just because of the life that he had basically been given to live. He was so disconnected from the rest of the galaxy that he no longer knew that he was still alive.
Yeah. I mean,
because she was like,
when he
Lord
walked
Vader's
away,
been looking for you for a long time, and he's just like, "Oh crap."
When he walked away from Anakin on Mustafar, after cutting off his arm and his legs, like he walked away thinking he just killed his Padawan, or his brother. Like, that's the thought that he had in his head, and that's what he's been torturing himself over for the last 10 years. So I can't imagine the emotions that you would have finding out that he's still alive, And you can definitely see it on his face. He's just searching. He's just like, what? So, and then you're right. That is a huge part that I missed. I don't know how I didn't think to mention that, but then she kills the Grand Inquisitor, gives him enough time to get on the ship. She says the lines you hear in the trailer, and they get away. And then there's just look, I got all hot and heavy over this. And I'm already just thinking about it just makes me a little oh man. Obi-Wan Kenobi has this moment inside the ship of him being like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Anakin's still alive." And then we get about 10 seconds or so, maybe 15 seconds, because he says his name, right? That's how it transitions. I think Obi-Wan says Anakin, and then it transitions to I think it's a back to take. It
looks like
maybe a bigger, more advanced,
something similar to it.
Like the one Luke was in.
Yeah, like a bigger, more advanced back to take kind of situation, and then lo and behold, Lord Vader is in there. And his eyes open.
He looks like pissed. Raw. And he's like ready to go.
Yeah, and it zooms out.
Just, not like physically, but like.
Well, he's inside the back to take without his suit.
He's just charred.
Him. So his body. Scarred, messed up body from his fight, or from being burned by lava, and it's a moment, because you're sitting there like, "Oh my god, this is what we've been waiting for."
Yeah, like it gets you hyped.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, it was great. It was a great 15 seconds of just watching Anakin. It just looked like he was stewing in there. He's just all the rage building.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You underestimate my power.
Have the high ground, Anakin.
It's too late. I've already won.
Yeah, and then that's the end of the episode. You know, obviously we didn't want it to end. I mean, that's one of the
Darth Vader.
huh?
Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, and that too. He's breathing the whole time too.
Yeah, you hear it
during
in
that
his
15
voice.
seconds. He
'Cause
breathes.
He's got the
The respirator, and he's breathing the whole time, and it's like I told you in the we talked about in the trailer reaction. There's just not a whole lot of sounds out there that instill the feeling and just the grabs you like Darth Vader's breath does. Yeah. Oh man, it's so amazing.
Yeah, I just love the intensity in his eyes
You
when they
get so much emotion, so much emotion, so
you
much
could just
intensity.
feel the hate coming off of him.
Yes.
Ooh.
It has to be hated, right?
I think so.
No, it is because
I think so.
I distinctly remember. It was like a behind the scenes thing.
I remember him
them
getting
putting the makeup on him and stuff.
I remember him getting all the makeup and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's him. So, yeah, and then one other thing I wanted to talk about before we end this episode. I know it was only a rumor prior to this series coming out that we would be seeing Liam Neeson return as Qui-Gon Jinn.
We forgot to mention that. So
But
there is a couple parts where he's
calling
talks
out.
about he's like, Master, if there's ever a time that I needed you, it's now.
Yeah, he's calling out
And
for
then,
help from Qui-Gon
There's
Jinn.
like a second of silence, and it's like, is it gonna happen?
There's one scene in his little home cave that I thought might happen.
That was I think it was in the first episode. I was like,
It's
that's way too early.
episode. Yeah, and then there's a scene on Dio that he says it too, which to me, if it happens 2 times that quickly, I feel like it's leading up to something.
When we did the reaction, if they give me
Liam
Neeson in this show, automatic 10.
Yeah, bro. If it happens, that is gonna seal the deal for me.
I don't care what happens.
It's gonna seal the deal for me on greatest Star Wars cinema since the first 3 episodes. So,
because Liam Neeson is my shit.
If you guys didn't know, that's a Key and Peele reference. But in summary, great start in my opinion. Great start. Now again, there's a few little things here and there, but obviously every show is gonna, and especially when it comes to Star Wars, we're gonna be even more nitpicky about it. But great first 2 episodes, great start. I'm hyped for next week.
Yep.
Can't freaking wait. We are planning on bringing you guys an episode review every episode of this series. I know in the past we've only done initial and final, but because this one is so near and dear to our hearts, we're gonna do every episode for you guys. So, stay tuned for that stuff coming out every week. We're trying to get as much content as we can out. If there's anything else you guys want us to review, let us know. Otherwise, we will leave you guys with hopefully the image of Darth Vader stewing in a bacta tank without his armor on, with just hate-filled eyes, breath sounds overlaid in the sound, and hopefully that gets you guys hyped to go watch this series. So, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you guys as always. Share down in the comments what your favorite scene was from episode 1 and 2. What got you the most hyped? Was there anything that you didn't like? Any problems that you had with the first 2 episodes? We want to hear it all. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
The viewers hitting the like button is like an itch. They cannot help it.